Yo, what's up, boys? No intro today. We're going straight into it, dude. We are going straight into it. What was this? The Korean T1 fans fundraised a truck carrying the messages of them. The truck is currently driving down the most important avenues in downtown Seoul, including SK Telecom's HQ and Gangnam. Fans are hoping that these pictures will get the attention of T1's management and the Korean esports press. Dude, what the fuck is this, man? We gotta read this shit on stream. I've never seen so much hate for a coach joining, but I guess Ellis is probably one of the most popular coaches, so he's gonna have like the most love, the most hate. That's how it works. Okay, let's see this. All right, title. We'll read it. We'll read the title once again. We'll probably put this on YouTube or somewhere. All right, Korean T1 fans fundraised a truck carrying the messages of them. Like, who? Number one, I just want to know who the fuck organized this. Is there like a leader of the Korean fan club? You know, they have like the president of the fan club, like you know Selena, the Mexican singer who was murdered by the president of her fan club. Is there something like that for Korea where there's a dedicated head where this person is the decider of all things Korean fans? So when the Korean fans are upset, they're like, "Fuck it, man. I'm gonna be the one that hires the truck. This is what we're gonna do. This is how we're gonna fucking get the action that we want from our organization." All right. Anyways. The truck is currently driving down the most important avenues in downtown Seoul, including SK Telecom's HQ and Gangnam. Fans are hoping that these pictures will get the attention of T1 management and the Korean esports press. Okay. The truck's driving course. Okay. This doesn't mean anything to me. So it's just driving in a circle around the biggest area. Okay, that's all we get from that. All right, back. Photos of the truck in downtown Seoul and SK Telecom HQ. This is the SK Telecom HQ. Okay, not bad. So this is the truck. No future for a team that shuts out devoted fans. Wait, so they have this part in English, dude, just so no one is mistaken with what this truck means. And it's just broadcasting. What is this? It's just a massive motherfucking iPad? Like, what is this shit? They got a massive iPad just broadcasting these things. This is the other side of it. We SKT T1 fans demand a clear and detailed explanation from top management. Okay. No future for... Okay, so this is the other thing we saw. And here's just... Wait, isn't this illegal? Look at where it is. I don't know Korean driving rules, but I feel like being on this many yellow lines must be illegal. Gangnam Square, so here they are. It's just driving. Okay, interesting. Oh, so they took the iPad off. Oh, wait, no, this is still on the truck. SKTT, okay, so let's see what these messages say, because I don't know my Korean. Okay, so... What's in the link? All right, so Korean T1 fans fundraise a truck which has a large monitor on its back. The monitor keeps switching between the messages of Korean T1 fans, hoping that the T1 management and the press would pay attention to these messages. The truck is still driving, by the way. The driving will end in about 5 hours later. Dude, who the f*** has this time? Who can say, yeah, we're just going to drive a truck around for 5 hours? More than 5 hours, because this is obviously like when it started. Let's just drive a truck for 10 hours randomly because of a team we like in a video game. Like, that's crazy to me. That's crazy next level fandom. Because at the end of the day, if you're not involved in the team, it's like, dude, I understand like protests like this for like civil rights and things that matter, but like they don't even know if the decisions are bad or good, and they have no insight into what's actually happening within the organization. So how can you even like make like what's the point of this? They're not even saying that something's necessarily like really wrong. They're just saying that they demand a clear and detailed explanation. Like, okay, man, sure. No future for a team that shuts out devoted fans. Okay, we saw that. That was like the first one. We SKT T1 fans demand a clear and detailed explanation from top management. I mean, how dumb would these fans look? Just think about this. How dumb would these fans look if SKT just ends up being good? If T1 just ends up being good next year, and you know, Ellis ends up being like a fantastic coach, Pult is a genius, and you know, the team ends up just being super strong. All these people would just like have to crawl back into the caves that they came out of when all this shit hit the fan. Here's some more Korean. A rumor that an unverified head coach and a controversial coach will be hired for T1. Who cares if the coach is controversial if they're good? Isn't like CV Max one of like the most controversial coaches that there is in Korea, if not the most controversial coach? And he's always produced like pretty damn good results. Like if you look at Griffin, if you look at now DRX, sure, you can say like, oh, they weren't the best team, but like, I don't know. I feel like being controversial shouldn't matter, right? Like if the person is good at their job, that should be the number one thing. And you have no idea what process they went through in order to be hired. Like, you don't know how many meetings that LS had with the people that make these decisions within T1 to prove that he was actually knowledgeable enough and that he had enough coaching expertise to take on a job like this. Like, I don't think that T1's the type of team that would just, like, hire random people and they, like, don't give a fuck. I feel like this is really just self-entitled fans. That's how I see it. I feel like these fans just got used to SKT winning everything for years, and now if they're not like on the absolute top, they're like, oh well, everything's fucked. Like, come on, man. Like, what? This is worse than TSM fans. Legit. They make TSM fans look sane. The players are not cash cows. Okay, so this is the point. So these things can actually be discussed. There was a huge issue with the amount of from the Korean fans, there was a huge issue with the amount of work that the players were doing outside of just playing. So they had a bunch of sponsorship activations to do. They would have to do commercials. They'd have to do different types of like, ads that required photo shoots, things like that. And people were really upset with them having to do that much during the season. I, as a player, can sympathize with that. I always hated when we had to do a ton of sponsorships. There was a point where on Curse, we were doing sponsorships every single day on our day off. So we didn't actually have a day off, right? Like our day off, we would have to go to HyperX and, film for 7 hours. And like, does that feel like a day off? If you play 4 days, you just scrim the whole day. And we were doing triple blocks. So we were doing 8 hours of scrims plus like reviews and everything. So we're doing about 10 hours there. And then we have LCS days, which actually felt like our days off. Like the LCS days were like the days where like, after your game on Sunday, you could go get food with like your girlfriend or something, and then you had to come back and you're still going to practice. Having your 1 day off a week be all sponsorships, that sucks. And I feel like it should definitely be limited, that at least you get a reasonable full day off at some point as a pro. Like every 2 weeks, having 1 day off is fine. And like, dude, even for me, it's not like I would say, oh, 1 day off, I don't have to play League. Like I would still play like 10 to 14 hours of solo queue a day. But just having 1 day where you're not just like in a fucking hard schedule where you can decide when you eat, when you play games, like when you do whatever you want to do. If you want to chill out and like watch a movie for 2 hours or something, you can do that. I feel like that is actually healthy. I think having some time to yourself feels good. So I can vibe with this, but I don't know how much they actually had to film, because now that teams are more advanced, a lot of the times what they'll do is they'll stack your content. So maybe you'll have to do like 5 commercials, but people are much faster about how they do them because they've been doing them for years now. And they can maybe get you to like spend 5 hours and knock out 5 different commercials and roll them out over the course of like the next split. So that's the other side of it. Like you'd have to actually see the breakdown of like the players, and like obviously the players can't complain because of the contracts, but you just kind of have to like read between the lines and see how much they're actually having to do during the season. Unprecedented excessive filming of advertisements and commercials during the LCK season. So, like I said, you don't know if it's necessarily during the season or it's before the season. I know that once players started complaining internally within NA, we did a lot of our filming before the season, and all those commercials were rolled out during the season. So you'd have like 1 or 2 days where you'd go and you'd film a bunch of content, and then they'd roll that out for the next split. And yeah, that would be like a way that they could keep everything going without having to like ruin your life, so to speak. Okay, we need a clear explanation of SKT1's top management about this issue. No, you don't. I mean, you really just don't. Like, the fans don't need to know. Like, the fans don't deserve an explanation of every decision that's made within a company. Like, I think that at the highest level like this, you should be able to make the decisions that you feel right for your team. And, like, having a random PR issue. Like, let's say they just have some PR response to why they went with LS. Like, oh, yeah, like, we know that LS is controversial, but we trust in his ability as a coach. He's proven behind closed doors his ability to work with players of this caliber, and we believe that he'll be able to return SKT1 to being one of the top teams in LCK. Like, what does that fucking mean, bro? I could literally write that. Like, that doesn't actually mean anything. Like, what does that do? It's actually just worthless. Like, you just have to see what the results are. I don't know. It doesn't make that much sense to me. Okay, don't hide behind the backs of the players. T1 top management should take responsibility. Sure, they should take responsibility, but like, I mean, it just is what it is. Like, I feel like this is just super extreme considering what actually happened. Okay, LS deleted Twitter. I mean, he just deactivated. He'll probably reactivate in a bit. I mean, it's fine to distance yourself if you're getting shit on this much. The reason why Korean fans chose the word SKT T1, it is perfectly clear that T1 is the successor of the prestigious SKT T1 team and still has all of its legacy and history. Obviously, SK Telecom, the telecommunications company, still has the largest stake on T1 and is the most relevant company in this issue. Fans want to raise awareness about this incident to SK Telecom itself, and that's the reason why the truck stopped and took a photo in front of the SK Telecom headquarters, the T Tower. Do you really think that they're going to give that much of a f***? Like, how much power did they think that SK Telecom had within the team itself? I mean, they're still a majority shareholder, right? It's still T1. I feel like they're just like targeting random people. It doesn't make sense to me. And the other thing is, like, I don't know, man. When I look at the people that are being targeted, I would not say that somebody like Polt should immediately be discredited because of his rank if his job is not to do the analytical side of things. Clearly, if they're getting Polt and LS, Polt is going to control more of like the overall team things, which he could be really, really smart at. This guy was like a god in SC2, right? Or maybe not a god, but he was a very proficient SC2 player. And he's known to just be a smart person. And I feel like that matters more than like actual achievements and things like that. Like, who is actually smart in this environment? Who's a good competitor? Who can understand what the players are going through? And who the players can look up to as just like a person, and who can they trust in as a person in order to be able to deliver feedback. Like, I don't think that you need to know everything about League of Legends to operate in a team environment and still give the players some instruction and guide them. If you have somebody that's also controlling the analytical side of things, like, clearly, if this is what SKT wants with Polt and LS is going to be the one that's going to be doing most of the drafting. He's going to be having most of the conversations with players about the specifics of how lanes should be played, how the teams should interact, what's good in the meta right now. Like, he'll be the one that's, you know, talking to players like, hey, what do you guys think is strong right now? How are we going to scrim? Things like that. I think that Polt is just kind of try to like manage the players in a way and make sure that they're like in the best possible shape to perform when it matters. And I don't know. I mean, I have no reason to believe that this is just inherently a horrible thing that SKT is doing, right? Like, sure, LS, the one thing that people say is that he's like unproven as a coach, or that he's he hasn't had the accomplishments as a coach, but I don't think that accomplishments really directly correlate with how good someone is or how proficient someone is. Like, you can say the same thing about players, right? Closer is an extremely proficient player, but he doesn't have like any of the successes that, you know, somebody who's potentially worse than him has. Like, Brox is a more established, successful player than Closer, but Closer's a better player, right? So the same thing can be for coaches. Like, you can have coaches that were just dragged along by a really, really good team, and they just get like the accolades from it. Where it's like, okay, I mean, honestly, like, if you have a team that's as dominant as, you know, TSM was in 2016, 2017 domestically, like, as long as you're not literally destroying the team from the inside, they're probably going to win either way. So I think it's kind of weird to have the like insane backlash before anything's happened. I mean, if T1 has a really bad spring split, I feel like this is way more justified to do it then, but like, nothing has happened yet. Like, just calm down and see what happens during the season. To my Korean fans, T1 is under different management now. There will be aspects of the team that will remain, and there will be some that will change. Whether or not you agree or disagree with these changes, it is important to recognize that this wasn't just a rebrand. There already have been changes from the top down to the players. This means that there is only one question. Are you a T1 fan or are you an LCK fan? In the first case, if you can't find the patience and willingness to believe in your team's decisions, perhaps it is time to reconsider what made you follow T1. Are you a fan because of the players? Are you a fan because of the legacy? Perhaps you are there just because of one player, but what matters now is whether or not you are able to give your continued support to this team. Try to find dude, it sounds like Bwibble's running for president here. Try to find a reason to support T1 once more and focus on that. In the case you're an LCK fan or worried about what is happening with T1, try not to lose too much sleep over it. Whilst it would be a shame if things didn't work out for T1 and Faker, find comfort in the idea of supporting a different team. Damwon has just won the World Championship with no signs of stopping. There is plenty of room to support them and their achievements, not even mentioning all the other teams entering franchising next year. The 10 teams are there to stay. If you do believe to support other teams, or if you do decide to support other teams, remember to give T1 the space they need to make decisions that they believe are best for them. They aren't doing it to make their fans unhappy. They are making decisions to help Faker earn his fourth World's trophy. Of that, I have no doubt. Neither should any of you. True. The majority of the negativity and bad rumors surround a person I personally respect. I not only have requested professional aid from him over my time in Fnatic, I have also asked my management to contact LS to have him join our team. One factor has always remained consistent. He did not and does not want to leave Korea. He has a love for the country and its people and has always supported the thought of staying there. He has defended his players as well as taking care of them. He has housed up to 7 Korean players at the same time, adding 2 boot campers that came to Korea to improve their skill. The notion that he is racist is baffling to me. Wait, are people saying that Ellis is racist? That's fucking weird. He spent many years engaged to a Korean individual. Over here, he is considered the most Korean-biased individual. He gets flack for how much he favors the Korean League of Legends, or how much he favors Korean League of Legends on a daily basis. He is shown to be more than capable in analyzing as well as coaching League of Legends, for he has done nothing but since entering the scene. I don't know exactly how long ago it was when he joined, but I know that 4 years ago I was a no-name rookie looking to make it big. He was able to teach me new concepts about the game in just one sitting. This has left me with a lasting impression, and I still see a sharp and accurate view on the game coming from him, even today. His personal capabilities combined with his love for the country make me believe he is more than capable of coaching at the highest level in LCK. If the rumors hold true, I truly believe there is little to worry about. Okay. It's like a PR statement almost. Wait, that's so weird that people are calling Ellis racist. I feel like Ellis is like the most pro-Korean guy you can get. It's because Ellis defended Malice when he was clearly being racist towards Untara on stream. I mean, I don't think that he defended him in the way that people are trying to make it out to be. Like, my understanding of the situation, I would have to rewatch the clips and stuff, but I remember LS defending Malice as a person and being like, yeah, like, this is not indicative of who he actually is, like, but I don't remember him supporting racist behavior that Malice did. And I think that because people were like, oh, well, if you're supporting Malice at all, then you're supporting racism, they kind of just decided to hate him based on that. But whatever. His grandmother is being harassed. That's crazy. All right, I'm going to play. Back on the Rift, boys. Do you think Ellis is a good fit for T1? I don't know T1 at all, so how can I make that judgment? You know? I don't know what's wrong with the team, what internal problems they're having, if LS will be a good fit, what LS brings to the team. I've never worked with LS in an environment and seen his coaching, and I've never interacted with any of the players or have any insight into how their team operated and what the issues within their team are, so it's just impossible for me to say. I mean, I could say some bullshit if you want to, like, clip me. No, I think LS is going to run that team into the motherfucking ground. Like, all right, there you go, man. Copy that.